Welcome to the JS Self-Care Mind, Body, and Soul podcast, a weekly conversation about self-care, personal development, and all the small decisions we can make to become the best possible versions of ourselves. I am your host, Janelle. I am a social worker, a self-care life coach, and an advocate for the effects of parental substance abuse. I am based out of New York. For more information, visit my website at jsselfcare.org. I want to welcome my new listeners, and I also want to welcome my returning listeners. If you can please share this episode, because there's someone in this world who needs to listen to this episode. I also want to personally thank you for making the JS Self-Care Mind, Body, and Soul podcast part of your weekly routine. I truly, truly appreciate you. Today, we will be discussing 6 fears that can hold us back from being our best version of ourselves. If you haven't done so already, please listen to 5 fears that hold us back in part 1. I have a question for you to think about before we begin. Do you fear failure or do you fear succeeding? Fear is a powerful force. It can be helpful when we are about to do something stupid. Keep that fear there because I don't want nobody in jail. However, it is also a very limiting mental blockage that can prevent you from achieving the life you really want. Fear can create excuses that seem legitimate enough so that you will stop taking action and you'll go back to your comfort zone. Fear keeps you in bondage. Let's let go of the fear of the illusion and go out and be our greatest versions of ourselves. Fears have the power to hold you back from achieving your dreams. Fears can hold you back from good relationships. Fears can hold you back from your career. Fears can hold you back from achieving your goal. The 6th fear is the fear of loss of freedom. That fear, it's okay to fear a little bit, but not too much to where it limits you. We should have some sort of fear of loss and freedom, but we can't allow it to hold us back. Many of us enjoy our freedom. I know I do. When I think of this fear, I think about activists who most definitely don't want to go to jail, but they are willing to take their chances and fight for equality and justice. When I think of this fear, I think of Masana General, Tamika Mallory, Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and Erica Ford, and the late John Lewis, and so many others whom are willing to fight for the justices of Black people and are willing to risk it all. We can be scared to lose our freedom, but we can't allow that fear to hold us back. I'm not saying commit a crime because someone touched you. I am saying don't let fear of freedom hold you back from being your greatest you. Don't allow anyone to control your emotions and have you in somebody's jail cell because the fear of freedom is needed. But when I think of the fear of freedom, I do think of people like the late John Lewis, who didn't fear his freedom when he was fighting for the rights of others. He said, always fight the good fight. Our next fear is the 7th fear. The fear of being judged. Many of us are afraid of judgment, so we dodge the whole living my best life thing. We don't want to put ourselves out there because we fear what others may say about us being our authentic selves. That's why some of us fear of being negatively judged by others, so we will shy away from the social opportunities or chances to advance in our careers or in relationships. I want you all to get in the mindset of I could care less what others think about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. People will always judge, whether that's for the good and or the bad. When I started self-care, I heard so many disheartening things like, why are you doing that for? Do you think you got time to start a business? Do you think this is going to go somewhere? Oh my God, I could go on and on. I just did what Nike says and I just did it. My why has nothing to do with you. I say, hey, are you coming on this journey with me? Yes or nah? People who fear judgment never get out of their comfort zone. They just stay stuck. I am so okay with being uncomfortable. My comfortability level has nothing to do with you. I can care less about others' judgments. They will not keep me stuck where others are sorry but not sorry. Self-growth needs to be a non-negotiable in your life. Learn to care less what others think or say. I'm going to say fuck what others think about you. Venturing out to becoming the best possible version of yourself. Go out and be authentically great. Our next fear is the fear of something bad's gonna happen. Bad things happen in life. It's inevitable. However, when people constantly fear something bad is going to happen, it often restricts their activities. They may avoid doing a lot of things or going to certain places due to an unrealistic fear that bad things may happen. Things will happen. I wish I can say everything will be okay because I would be lying out of my teeth. The fear of something will happen will make you stay in the house and in your community. I'm not saying to risk your life because I wouldn't. Like, for instance, some of you listening to this episode may know that I love to dance and sing. Not that I can sing, but love to do it. I would not place myself at a party where I know there's a chance there might be a shootout. Some people who do place themselves at a shoot 'em up bang bang party, pray nothing will happen. What I am saying is take some risks and stop saying, if I go here, this will happen. That will happen. Stop creating stories in your mind because you'll start to believe them and you'll be stuck in your environment. Go out and live a little. But next fear is the fear of getting hurt. You're probably saying, ain't nobody got time to be getting hurt. I surely don't. Who wants to be hurt? Not me. Well, unfortunately, part of life is getting hurt. But what we should all have, some sort of fear of getting hurt. We need to have that fear, but not let it overpower us. If you never gotten hurt, you wouldn't look both ways when you cross the street. However, people who have a big fear of being emotionally hurt often refuse to enter into relationships with an open heart because they fear of getting hurt. Some of you may have said, I'm never giving my heart to no one else after what so-and-so did to me. I've said that before, but now I don't feel that way anymore. When I find that one, I'm going to put my guards down. Yes, I am. And be vulnerable. I am not going to fear being hurt. I'm not going to fear that person's going to hurt me. Sometimes when you speak things into existence, they actually come true. Watch what you think and speak on taking chances. Another example of fear is getting hurt is self-sabotaging behavior. Where we sabotage a relationship, we would say, I'm going to hurt so-and-so before they hurt me. The other person on the other end is like, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, loving up on you. Stop self-sabotaging. People will avoid friendships and keep family at arm's length due to that fear that they won't be able to handle the hurt that comes their way. Getting hurt is a part of life. Learn from the hurt and move on. The 10th fear is the fear of inadequacy. A lot of people feel as if they are not good enough for a relationship or for a job. People will pass up opportunities because they feel they're not inadequate enough. Often, some of us overcompensate for their fears by trying to be a perfectionist. Ain't nobody perfect, but remain plagued by the thoughts that they just don't measure up to other people. Leave perfection at the door. You can do anything you put your mind, body, and soul into. Quit saying, I'm not good enough for this. I'm not good enough for that. You are good enough for that amazing job. You are good enough for that good old relationship. You are good enough to have an amazing life. Say, I am more than enough. I am more than a conqueror. You are good enough. I guarantee you good for any job. You good for any relationship. You good for any entrepreneur. Whatever it is you want to do in life, stop saying you don't have the skills. You do have the skills. And if you need to learn as you go. But don't give up on yourself. You are more than a conqueror. You are adequate enough to apply for that position. Think of all the people who applied and got the job. That's your job. Get it. You want a new relationship? Get it. You can do it. Our last fear is the fear of change. Even though we live in a world that changes by the second, we live in that type of world. Every minute things are changing. However, many of us fear change. Normal is always comfortable. As a result, as humans, resist change at all costs. That's what we do. We resist that peace. I ain't changing. I'm going to just stick with what I know. For instance, I hate my job, but it pays the bills. I love coaching, but I like going to get that 9-to-5 check. It is a guarantee unless I get fired. It pays the bills. If I don't have any coaching clients for the week, I don't get a check. I got to go to that 9-to-5. Those limiting beliefs of change. Woo, Janelle, get your life. And every listener on this podcast, get your life. The fear of change can cause us to become stagnant, and we may miss out on a lot of really good opportunities in our life. If you hate your job, find another one and stop saying this is the only job that pays my bills. There's other jobs that will pay your bills. Self-growth is a mindset shift. Get into it. Change is scary, but so worth it. Stop that reckless behavior we exhibit because it's comfortable. If you need to make changes, make them. I need to change this job, apply for a new. I need to go back to school, apply to go back to school. I need to get out of this toxic relationship, get out the toxic relationship in a safe way. Change is good and necessary. Stop fearing change and embrace it. If you got this, I promise you, you got this. Not if, I promise you, you got this. You can do it. Change is inevitable. But why stay stuck in that space where you don't want to stay? Change it up, switch it up. You got this. Like I said, I promise you. After listening to this episode, I want you to ask yourself, is fear holding you back? Ask yourself, is fear holding me back? Ask yourself, am I in bondage to fear? Do I feel shackled up and can't move because I'm scared? Does fear have me stagnant as if I can't move? Were you stuck? That's bondage. Are you stuck in that place? If you are, I want you to do one thing. Ask yourself why. Then I want you to tell yourself what you're going to do about it. We got to embrace what life brings to us. We got to let go of fears. Fears will hold us back. Fears will have us singing our shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Get out of that miserable space and get into that space that you want to be in. And if it doesn't work, dust yourself off and try again. We all know Aaliyah says it. If it don't work, dust yourself and try it again. But Mary J. Blige said, we all will be just fine. And that's what I trust. While I hope you love listening to and learning from this podcast, it's not meant to be a substitute for mental health treatment. For those of you who are ready to get started by talking to a self-care life coach who can answer all of your questions about self-care, I want you to schedule a free consultation with me at jsselfcare.org. If mental health treatment is needed, please don't hesitate to contact a therapist in your area. Self-care is important and necessary. Take care of you and continue to put you first no matter what. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and share. For daily doses of your self-care affirmations, notes to selves, videos, make sure that you join me, Janelle, at JS Self-Care on most social media platforms. I always put my info in these show notes. Thanks again for listening to this powerful episode on fear.